We're back to the Hilchot Bishul. We had a brief interruption with Chanukah, not so brief, about a week and a half. And now we're back to Hilchot Bishul. Hamavanya points out something very important. People think that the only thing that's called Bishul, that's called cooking, is when something's directly on a fire. You have it on top of the stovetop, you have it in an oven or something like that, it's directly on the fire, in the oven or something like that, that's called cooking. But once you took it off the fire, you take a boiling pot of soup, or you take a boiling, whatever it may be, a boiling urn with water, and you take it off the urn, you take it off the fire, and now it's off. So now you're allowed to put things in there because it's already off the fire, it's not cooking. Is that allowed or not? And Chamavanya says 100%, you have to, the words of Chamavanya is, mitzvah lefarsem et hadavar bedrashot. It is a mitzvah to make this publicly known in the Rashot that it's not true. That's 100% Bishul. Even though it's not on the fire, you took it off the fire. It's still Bishul because it's still boiling hot, and technically you can cook something in that, whatever it is, if it's water or soup or whatever it is that you took off the fire. And therefore, it's 100% Asur Deoraita to cook with that item, to put food in there or to add things inside which are cold and will get cooked when you put it inside. Until when is it asur? Chamavanya points out, like it brought down a halacha, that until it's still in the category called yad soledet bo. The word yad soledet is a common term brought in the Gemara all the time. The literal translation is yad, a hand, soledet gets burned, bo in it. As long as the heat of the item is still hot enough that it could burn your hand, when you put it inside, a normal person, there's different people, a normal person puts his hand inside and gets burnt, that's called, it's still able to cook, and anything you put inside is still called cooking on Shabbat. But once it cools off, that now a person could drink it, or now a person will put his hand and he won't get burnt, then already it's mutar to put things inside of it because it's not cooking once the heat of the item is already low enough that a person could drink it or a person could put his hand and not get burned. You're allowed to put things inside there and it's okay. It's not called bishul. So it's very important to realize the halakha. Not just something on a fire. Even if it's taking off the fire, it's already asur. It's still asur until it cools down, until it's not a category of yad soledet. Not only that, last halakha. Not only that, if you pour from a pot that was taken off the fire. Till now we discussed something that was taken off. Now you want to pour from that into something else. This is called irui kli rishon. The word irui kli rishon means pouring from a kli rishon. It means it was on the fire, you took it off. Now it's called kli rishon, the first vessel off the fire. Now you're pouring from that onto something else. That's called irui kli rishon, pouring from the first vessel. That is also a problem, believe it or not. That is also a problem. The world of halakha is it's mivashel kedek klipa. It cooks somewhat. The outer crust of the item that you're pouring it on top of, it still gets cooked from that water, from that item that you're pouring from, and therefore that's also asur. There are halachic ramifications. In this case, it's slightly more mekel, which we will talk about tomorrow. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen. Amen. Chazak u'baruch.